I am awful at dancing.
What was that like, getting your first person being like, hey, I want to write about you?
I was 16. It felt like a lot at the time. I got up, I didn't know where I was, I couldn't remember anything. It was just scary, that like short-term memory loss that you get after like hitting your head like that.
Speaking of school, Berkeley, if you could meet 3 musicians or bands, who would it be?
Oh.
So, new music's coming out.
Yes.
Okay, when can we expect that new music?
Within the next...
All right, guys, welcome back to another interview on Studio One. I'm here with Estelle.
Hi.
Estelle, how you doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
Tyler and I just rounding applause here. I know we talked a little bit about this, but how was your drive up here? I know it's a rainy day.
Yeah, it was rainy. There was a little bit of traffic, but overall it was good.
Yeah, the rain, oh man. I feel like we're getting to the point where it's like springtime is coming, so like a lot of rain. So you kind of have to weather the storm. Because we had a couple days where it was like super nice weather.
Yes.
And I was like, can this be for a little longer?
Yeah, it felt like the middle of summer for a few days, and then suddenly it went back to like 30 degrees. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, but it's a part of the process. Perfect. All right, I want to get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
So give me your background of, let's just say your musical journey.
Okay.
When did you start up to now? Because you're 18?
Yes.
Yes, you're 18. So super young, but it sounds like you've been playing music for a little while. So give me a little bit of background of who you are.
Yeah, so I started taking piano lessons around 7 or 8, and I was really interested in singing, but my parents had some opera friends, and they had suggested that I don't start singing until a little later, like when I started puberty, because the voice changes a lot. Some weird advice, not a lot of people follow that.
Is that normal, or?
I think that you can learn, I think the issue is that you can learn like habits that are gonna like have to be changed when you hit puberty, like it's gonna be like bad for your voice and damage it. It's not something that I've heard from other people, but in general, that's the take that they had given us, and my parents listened because obviously they were professionals. And so I started singing, taking lessons for my voice around like 10, and it started off like pretty classical, but pretty early on I realized that I wasn't really interested in that as much. So I had learned that, and it was a good foundation, but eventually I decided that I wanted to kind of go on a more like singer-songwriter kind of journey.
Yeah.
And since then I started writing. I started kind of experimenting with other instruments. I started learning guitar at the beginning of COVID, actually, so I haven't had a lot of experience with that. But in general, I think that's pretty much like how everything started. And then eventually, my junior year, I started on recording my EP. I had reached out to a producer that's kind of local, and they were like, yeah, like, let's do this. So I had recorded 6 songs on my EP called The Prettiest Parts of Me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
That's great. Yeah, we'll definitely jump into the EP in a little bit. But so you started on piano, voice, and guitar, correct?
Piano and voice primarily. Guitar came a little up.
Perfect. Which one do you like more? Like, what do you gravitate towards more?
I think that I gravitate more towards voice because I feel like it's kind of therapeutic, especially like the lyrics of in writing it all. And for me, I'm a very emotional person, and sometimes, you know, your friends or your family or whoever gets tired of hearing you ramble on about your emotions all the time, so it's good to be able to just kind of put those words to a song and kind of create something that's a little bit more like structured and a little bit more positive than just rambling.
Yeah.
So that's something that I definitely had gravitated more towards when I was younger, especially. But I mean, I love piano. I think it's such a beautiful instrument.
Oh, yeah.
So piano's a close second.
Yeah, that's great. Are any of do you have siblings?
I have 2 brothers.
Are they musical? Are your parents musical, or are you more the shining child?
Actually, none of them. My mom took piano lessons for 2 years when she was young, and she was awful. And my brother.
We'll cut that out so that she doesn't see that.
One of my brothers, he had played drums when he was younger, and he played them in high school, but he wasn't very invested in it.
Yeah.
He was really good at drums. He just didn't really have like a passion for it. And then my oldest brother, he had taken up guitar lessons, or I guess I don't know if he had actually taken lessons, but he'd taken up guitar during COVID when he was away at college. So
it's in there. So it's in the family a little bit.
Yeah. I think I'd like to say that I sparked it, but
you led the way for it.
Yes, but there's a little bit of, no one's as like committed to being like a proper musician in the family other than me. So
yeah, that's cool. That's so cool. I want to get a little bit to outside of music. Do you have any hobbies or anything that you enjoy doing that is not music related?
Yeah, so I mentioned snowboarding, which I haven't done in a while, but skateboarding is like my main thing outside of like music that I love to do. And I had a best friend who had just gone to college, and he basically, I skateboarded with him like almost every day in the summer, and we kind of like push each other to like learn new tricks and stuff like that. But when I'm not doing music, that's probably what I'm doing, because it's good to get outside. It's good to exercise somewhat. Sometimes when you're sitting inside at a piano for too long, it can get a little draining.
For sure.
Just taking that break and like getting outside is really important to me.
Yeah. Do you have a story or highlight from your skating, like a bad fall or like a trick that you did that you're like, yo, that was so dope? I'm not a skater. I snowboard, but I don't skate. Yes. I longboard, but that's it.
I have a good story. So I had just gotten back into skateboarding after the winter, and I was with my friend, and we kept on running into this like younger kid in the neighborhood who, to be honest, he was like a little annoying, but we were trying to be nice. Hopefully he never sees this.
He's like, that was me.
We kept on running into him, and he asked us to like hang out with him and skate with him. He was just getting into skateboarding, and I was like, okay, we're not going to say no. We're not going to be mean. We said yes to him, and he was sweet. He would just like he would just talk a lot, and like he wanted to be our best friends, and it was a little weird because he was like a lot younger than us. But he ended up like messaging us, and we hadn't hung out with him. We hung out with him once, and we hadn't hung out with him since, and it was like it had been a few weeks. And so we were like, okay, we need to hang out with him again, because now it's like we shouldn't be ignoring him like this. We started hanging out with him, and he couldn't do any like tricks yet, so we were like just skating around like the neighborhood and like doing some tricks. And he was like, we were trying to teach him a little bit, and eventually he's like, I know what I can beat you guys at like a race. And we were like, okay, like we'll race. What had happened was actually I was the one to fall, because like the biggest enemy of skateboarders is like little pebbles, because they get caught in your wheels and you just like fly forward. We were racing, and like he was like, we were all pretty like matched. I wasn't giving it my all.
Was this downhill or was this?
It was pretty flat. It was like slightly downhill, but it wasn't. It was pretty flat. And I had hit a rock and just flew forward. I didn't, like, I got up, I didn't know where I was, I couldn't remember anything, I got a concussion. And I wasn't wearing a helmet, don't tell my mom, but...
Okay, we gotta cut this now, man, we gotta cut so much stuff from this. Your mom's gonna be like, what?
No, she'll be fine. But...
it's good the truth comes out.
Yes. Yeah, and after that, obviously I had to take a break for a few months, and my mom was like... And I went back to it, and my mom was like, why would you ever go back to doing this? But it's part of it. Everyone takes some big falls. I figure I'm not going to hit my head again, right? I already got it out of the way. Hopefully. We got to find some wood to knock on or something. Jeez, yeah, I can feel you falling. I can feel the fall. It was just scary, because I've never like that like short-term memory loss that you get after like hitting your head like that. And the concussion wasn't that bad, thankfully, but
still, like, not knowing where you are is like...
Yeah. The kid, the most annoying part of this story was after the kid, I knew that I had like had a concussion. I hadn't had a concussion before, but I know that like that short-term like memory loss is like a part of it. I had told my best friend at the time, who I was skating with, that I like definitely had a concussion, and like I needed to go to like home and like go to the ER, go to the hospital, and the kid had come over to me and been like, you don't have a concussion, I can tell. Like, I know how to check your eyes for like, to see if they're like, you know how like you can check like the dilation of your eyes, but he didn't know what he was talking about.
Well, and he was younger though, right?
He was younger. He was just trying to be like. He was
trying to be that cool.
Yeah. And yeah, I was upset, because obviously I was still missing some memories, and I was like, there's no way this kid is sitting here right now. But it all worked out, and then I never skated with him again because I had to take a break for 3 months,
Yeah.
and then he never hit us up again.
Yeah. He's off doing his own thing now.
Yeah. Hopefully maybe he's good now. And I'm sure he's cool now. He was young.
Yeah. Maybe you can reconnect with him, you know.
Yeah.
Never know. That's great. I want to touch a little bit on on your website, you have a couple like magazine interviews. Mm-hmm. How was that process? And so I know it's different than what we're doing right now, but like what was that like getting your first person being like, "Hey, I want to write about you"?
Yeah, so my producer had some contacts in the industry, and like actually my producer just went on a book tour.
Sweet.
They have this like really like crazy past of like growing up in like New York and like the rock and roll scene because they're pretty old, and like just like some really like punk stuff going on. So they have a bunch of really cool stories. So they had written a memoir about it and gone on a book tour. But in general, they just have a lot of like connections to people. Yeah. So they got me in contact with some PR people that were like, "Oh, we'll get you a few magazines that we know to reach out." And that process was really cool, but it was really scary. When all that happened, I was 16, and obviously now I'm only 18. But it just like it felt like a lot at the time. It was just not something I was prepared for. I'd hardly done any like performances, so talking to people about my music a lot was scary. And obviously I'd been writing for a while, but kind of seeing that come to fruition was exciting, but also scary. Yeah,
and the connections in the industry is really, like, really, really helpful. So finding those people. I want to talk a little bit about your EP. So that producer, what have they done outside of your work, and like how'd you get connected to them for that EP?
Yes. So I know that they had done. There's a bunch of they've worked with a bunch of really cool people, and I'm kind of blanking, but I know that they had worked with Blondie at some point. In general, they just have like a super wide array of styles, and because of their like kind of like punk like rock history, I kind of thought it would be cool because obviously when I went to them, all I had really listened to was like mostly like pop music, and like it was pretty like basic stuff. So I thought that their influence on the tracks could be like really cool, and in general it definitely was. They had really brought something to it that wasn't there, and kind of they gave me that first opportunity in a studio, which was really, really cool to kind of go through. So
how'd you get connected to them? Like, was it like through a friend, or did you reach out to them, or is it like?
I had been looking for someone to produce my music, and my parents were kind of like, if you want to do this, like you have to go out of your way and you have to find it, and that was scary for me because I do have like some anxiety, social anxiety. But obviously my parents were like, that's not going to work if you're becoming a performer.
It's cool that they pushed you that way.
And one of our family friends had like mentioned that they had been like sort of friendly acquaintances with a producer at some point, and we're like, oh, this is their name. I looked it up, went to their website, and they just had something to like submit, kind of like an application to see, because they don't work with everyone, obviously. So then their manager had reached out to me and been like, yep, like, sounds cool, like, send us some more stuff. And eventually I got to actually meet them and talk to them. And so it was good for me to be able to, like, have that experience on my own, especially at that age, because I think that even now it's still, like, scary for me to, like, meet new people and put myself out there, but it's definitely part of the industry. Ideally, I would just be like, I just walk in somewhere and play, but that's not how it can be. Obviously, there's a lot of marketing that goes into it, and a lot of like putting yourself out there. So it was good for me to have that experience, and my producer definitely boosted my confidence in that aspect.
That's awesome. What was it like sharing so much music with them? Was that like a hard process to be like, hey, this is like vulnerable like music to like strangers that I don't really know? Like, what was that kind of like? Was it your first time sharing like that kind of music with like a stranger, or had you put singles out beforehand? Like, what was that process of you like?
So I had shared songs with a few. One of my mom's best friends is married to a sound engineer. And so I had shown him some of my stuff like very early on, and he'd been like, that's cool. But obviously I was like 12 and it was not as good as it got. So I had shown my stuff to a few people, but not in that capacity. And at that point, I think at like around 16 or 15 when I had written the songs is when the songs started to become like a little bit more emotional, a little bit more mature. Obviously still quite, I can look back and say still quite naive, and it's only been 2 years, but so it was scary because I have like depression, major depressive disorder, so and I had gotten diagnosed around that age, so like sharing all those feelings to a producer was definitely scary, but luckily for me, they weren't like, this is awful.
You have to be very vulnerable because they're coming at it a different way. Like they'd be like, hey, that didn't really work, and it's like that's so personal to be like. So it's definitely
and luckily they kind of like were able to make those like changes and like guide me in a way that seemed really positive and constructive. And I think that's really important, especially at like a young age when we're so like impressionable and kind of just like making it like, hey, like maybe this doesn't work, but we're not going to say like that's awful. We're going to say like, let's just try this. And they were really kind in that aspect about like kind of just pushing me, nudging me instead of like being harsh.
Yeah, that's great. Do you still use them for your projects now?
Yeah, so I had recently I just recorded 2 new songs, just singles. And one of them is called Everything and Nothing at All, and I had recorded both of them with them, but I'm really excited about this project because it's a little bit different. It's definitely like very folky, and it has a lot of cool harmonies in it, and it's basically like acoustic, just harmonies and guitar, and I'm just really excited about this song in particular, but they definitely made like my whole image on that come to life completely.
That's great.
And it was really cool to see that happen in the studio.
So new music's coming out.
Yes.
Okay, when can we expect that new music?
I would say within the next 3 months.
Okay.
3 months being the latest.
Okay.
But I don't have a release date set at this current moment.
Okay, so you have 2 though in the bag ready to go. Okay. That's great. So who's the influences? Like, so some of your music I've listened to a little bit. It's like there's a little bit of rock, there's a little bit of like pop. This is very folky. Is there someone that you've been influenced by that's like pushing you towards more of the acoustic style?
Yeah, so recently I've been listening to a lot of like, I've always really loved Clairo, but I've been listening to a lot of like Leve and stuff like that. So kind of like not fully folky, definitely still some pop, and Leve has kind of like this like jazz sound, but in general, like I think just like those softer, quieter voices and those like pretty harmonies everywhere were something that I really like was starting to value a lot. So I wanted to kind of create something that was a little different. Obviously, I'm still really young, so I'm still finding my style.
For sure.
And I'm kind of experimenting with a lot of things, so I thought it would be cool to kind of try that out.
Yeah. Could you see yourself pushing more towards this way? Or is this kind of like, hey, I'm going to go this way, and then next time I'll maybe go this way? I really try to feel it out? Or is it like, hey, I'm kind of finding a little bit, and I enjoy this? Like,
I think it changes, like, because when I was younger, and I had first released my EP, I had these songs and they were all different, like kind of scattered ideas. But after that point, I was kind of like, okay, let me just go fully like alternative pop kind of genre and delve into that. But as I'm growing, it's like there's so many different types of music and different genres that I want to explore. So I'm not ready to settle into something yet, but hopefully I'll get there eventually. And I think going to school will definitely help with that.
Yeah. Speaking of school, Berkeley.
Yes.
That's exciting.
It is.
That's a hard, I mean, it's pretty hard to get in there, right? Like, it's a pretty rigorous process.
I think a lot of people that go to Berkeley or have went to Berkeley say that, like, getting in is hard, but staying in is harder because a lot of musicians are not, like, I guess, like, the most, like, studious, I should say. Like, it's a really creative thing, so you want to be, like, creative, and you're not necessarily in touch with that, like, oh, I want to sit down and write papers and stuff like that. Personally, I've always really, like, liked school and, like, done well in school, so I think that it will be okay. My mom's best friend's husband, who's the sound engineer, had gone to Berkeley, I guess in, like, he's kind of old, in the 80s. Sorry.
I love it.
So I think that it would definitely like he had talked to me about it, and he was kind of like, I think that you'll do fine there. And obviously it's changed a lot since when he went, but in general, yeah, it's been really exciting. Like getting to go there, it was my number one pick, so it's going to be really fun to be able to explore and be with other musicians, because obviously, like in general, you're not living with a pool of musicians, but there I will be, and I feel like it's going to be really inspiring, and there's going to be so much collaboration. So
so like, what's your expectation for that? I know you're saying collaboration stuff like that. Like, what are you hoping to get out of it?
I think that a lot of people would argue that for what I'm doing for performance, you don't need to go to school for, and I would say that's absolutely true.
Yes.
But I think that one of the main things that's super important in the music industry is kind of that like collaboration, kind of making those connections. So for me, I kind of wanted to just go there. Obviously, I'll be studying, and I'll still be learning a lot.
For sure.
Not that I won't be, but not that I couldn't have done that with like a bunch of private teachers. But going there, I think like the other aspect is kind of just like meeting those like-minded people and being able to experience like just a pool of musicians who have the same interests and passions as you. So.
Yeah, that's so exciting. It's gonna be a great time. I want to go a little technical now. Like, what does your songwriting process look like? What comes more naturally? Like melody, lyrics. Like when you're sitting down for a song, like how do you tackle it? I mean, sometimes it's always both. Yeah. But how do you tackle, or what comes more naturally when you write?
Normally I think that I'll be like driving, or I'll be like walking my dog or doing something, and I'll like have like a melody and lyrics come to mind, and then I'm like, okay, don't have perfect pitch, so I'll be like, okay, let me go downstairs to my piano when I get back, and like be like, okay, let's figure out what the chord progression to this is, and it might not be like, it might be a whole chorus, or it might just be like a line of a verse or something like that, but after I kind of like figure out the chord progression, it feels like it will flow a little bit more naturally for me. Pretty much, yeah, I would say like it's just like when people like sing in the shower and something pops into their head, I just run with that.
Yeah. Which one do you prefer? Like, which one do you enjoy more though? Do you enjoy like doing the lyrics and like writing the song, or do you like when you find a melody, you're like, ooh, that's a great hook? Like, which one, if you could like scale it, which one? Because like whenever I write songs, usually it's like I lean towards more lyrically instead of melodically. Like I'm not as strong in the melodic, but like lyrically, I'm like, ooh, I feel like I can grab that a little more. For you, what do you kind of gravitate more towards?
Yeah, I would say definitely the lyrics. I've always loved writing, and obviously it's kind of like it's a form of poetry, lyrics. So it's really fun to be able to kind of like find cool cliches and like ways to express yourself. And I think that a lot of people too, like when they're listening to songs, a lot of people that aren't musicians are going to be like more appreciative to the lyrics. So I definitely find myself like gravitating more to the lyrics when I'm hearing songs like on the radio and stuff like that. Like I basically decide if I like them or not based off of the lyrics. So.
Oh, for sure. That's how I did. I definitely gravitate to lyrics more, and I listen to a lot of country. Mm-hmm. When I write, I'm not really a country singer, but like I love them creating. Like I feel like country has a very like they create a really cool picture and a really cool like story, so that I gravitate towards lyrics definitely. That's the first thing I usually notice in a song is like lyrically what's happening. Yeah. I know it's different for everyone, but
yeah, I'm definitely not the biggest fan of country, but one thing I will say is that their lyrics are super descriptive, and it's like really cool to be able to like get that story. I mean, some of it can just be like trucks and tractors, but but when they
has a stereotype.
Yeah, when they are telling that like a story about love or like something about their family, like there is like a really descriptive kind of way that they go about their lyrics, and it can be really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. You're okay. So if you could meet 3 musicians or bands, who would it be?
Oh,
like who would like this person, this person, this person?
Okay, I just went to a Mitski concert in February, and
Mitski?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard their stuff.
Okay, well,
Wait, definitely. Hold on. Mitski?
They have a song that's like trending on TikTok, or it was like a few months ago. It's like, my love is mine, all mine. I love mine, mine, mine.
Maybe we'll look at it.
Yeah.
Hold on. While you're talking, I'm gonna try to pull it up.
Okay. They have this really cool like alternative pop style, and they particularly what I like about them is they do this like kind of like I think it's like Japanese influenced interpretive kind of dance. Yes.
Oh, I know Mitski. Yeah. Yes. I was like, that sounds so familiar. Yes. Sorry, keep going.
So I had seen them in concert recently, and I've loved them since I was really young. I used to be into this show called Adventure Time. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like an animated like cartoon show. Yeah. And one of their like characters is like this vampire queen girl, and she had been playing like a song in the show, and I was like, this song is really good. Like, I wonder if like the show wrote this or not. Yeah. I looked it up, and it was Mitski, and I was probably like 14 at the time, and then I just got like super hooked to Mitski. Cool. I was like, this is like so cool. Yeah. It's like this alternative like pop rock kind of thing, and so she's definitely one. I think her lyrics are super cool, and her style is super cool.
So Mitski?
Mitski. I'm gonna say Clairo. I don't want to say more recently, but definitely later than Mitski, I got into Clairo. And Clairo kind of started with this like bedroom pop kind of vibe, and obviously it's transformed a lot. But initially, when I had started listening to Clairo, it was just this like bedroom pop stuff, and I always thought it was super cool. Like she was doing it all on her own pretty much, and I just think that her style has evolved so much, but in general, she just has such like a sweet voice, and her lyrics are so beautiful. She's someone that I find like really inspiring, even though it doesn't translate as much to my music because it's very like my music's like kind of like dramatic ballad kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, she's someone that I really appreciate. And this last one is kind of like not really relevant to my music at all, but it's Tyler, the Creator. I'm not really big into rap, but Tyler, the Creator, I just love, mostly for his lyrics. I think that like it's not necessarily like the beat or like the like flow of raps that I really like. It's just like the lyrics, and his lyrics are like can be like really disturbing, but I think that he paints like such a good story with his lyrics. So Tyler.
Okay, cool. I mean, you could pull influences from anywhere. So I mean, I like that. That's awesome. And then before we get to our game, you're one person that you'd want to songwrite with. Who's like for me, it's Ryan Tedder. I want to write with Ryan Tedder. What would it be for you?
I'm gonna have to go with. You know what? I'm unrelated to the three that I had just named, but I'm gonna have to go with Billie Eilish because.
Oh, come on!
She has that.
So good.
Yeah, she
has.
That,
we'll have Billie and Phineas both in there because they're both crazy.
Yeah, she has like such a cool like dark style, and I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like she can make something crazy, and it would be so cool to just, even if she's taking the lead, it would be just so cool to sit there and watch and just be able to like throw anything to anything that she makes.
You should try to write something like Billie.
Yeah, I think
you could get the vibe.
Yeah, I think maybe I will after this. Yeah.
That's dope. That's so cool. All right, so we're about to wrap up. Thank you so much for spending some time with me.
Yeah.
We're gonna play a quick game.
Okay.
So all my guests, we play a game, different games depending on what it is. Sometimes I'll find photos on their Instagram and I'll ask them, give me an idea of what this is. Yeah. I've done Never Have I Ever with people. This game, though, is going to be Would You Rather.
Okay.
So we have 3 Would You Rathers. They're music-related, kind of, and then one's not. So you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. And you will be judged on this, and people on the internet will be very upset.
Oh, no.
All right, so would you rather be forced to sing along or dance? Sorry. Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every single song you hear? So it's either dance or sing.
Okay.
Every single song you hear, though. If you're walking to the mall and you hear a song, you just start breaking out, dance or sing.
Okay. I am awful at dancing. I cannot dance. I feel like I have rigor mortis when I'm dancing. Like it's really terrible. And like I've had tons of friends who are dancers that try to help me and nothing works. So I'm gonna have to go with the singing. Okay. I think it might be a little bit embarrassing if something's like out of my range and I'm like trying to figure it out. It's like in the middle of my range, just like jumping head, jumping down. But I'm gonna have to go with that.
Okay, that's solid. Respect. All right, would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed?
I think in general, I'm already kind of chronically underdressed for a lot of things. So I think I'm gonna have to go with overdressed because at least it's like good attention.
Okay.
If you're underdressed, like people can get judgmental. So
that's true. That's true. All right, but underdressed not too bad. Casual's in.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like you show up to like a business meeting.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
like,
true. Like PJs or something like that. You're like, hey guys, wouldn't really work out well. All right, the last one. Would you rather like a genre everyone hates or hate a genre everyone likes? And people know it. So they'll be like, oh, Estelle, she hates this. Can't believe it.
I think that I'd rather like a genre everyone hates. Because if you hate a genre everyone likes, you're going to hear it all the time. And it's going to be like stuck in your head. It's going to be so annoying. If you like a genre everyone hates, I mean, everyone in the world or like most people?
We'll say, up to your interpretation. So I'll say everyone in the world.
I mean, I think that would suck because then you'd have to probably be the one writing the music.
That's true.
But, and then
then maybe we'll ease off on it a little bit.
Just like,
just like, let's say your immediate friends and like people that you are closest to you. And then maybe like majority of the world.
I listen to most of my music in private, like in my car and stuff like that. So I think that I'd probably still have to go with that because it's like if no one's hearing it, they're not going to be judging me.
Okay.
They'll still know, but I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah, some really good logic there. I like it. All right, we're wrapping up. Music. So we have 2 singles coming out this year.
Yes.
Can you give us? You gave us one title. Can you give us the other title, or you want to keep it a secret?
Okay, I'm gonna keep it a secret.
Okay, that's fine.
Because honestly, it's because I'm still a little bit undecided. Okay. But I'm gonna keep it a secret. So
perfect.
I don't.
So we won't hear any of them today, right?
No.
Okay. I thought we could get a little sneak.
Oh, actually.
It's up to you.
You will.
Will?
Yeah.
Let's go. Perfect. Okay, so coming out this year, we have 2 singles, maybe more. We'll see. Where can people follow you, find you to kind of keep up with your music? Yeah,
so on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, my handle is estelle.fox. And then on my website, it's estellefoxmusic.com. And then you can find me on all of the major streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music. I was like, I don't know if people still listen to Pandora.
I don't know if people listen to Pandora.
But you can find me there. Just artist name is Estelle Fox.
Perfect. All right, Estelle, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. All right, stay tuned, guys, for Estelle. She's going to be playing some songs for us. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.
But I know no matter the outcome, you'll be around. I know in the